to our Dispense Connection video series. I'm Felicita Stübing, and today we're going to talk about our Optimum general purpose tips. These tips are our most popular tips that work for many different applications. They feature a plastic hub and a metal cannula to dispense anything from watery fluids to thick pastes. Our GP tips come in 11 different gauges, ranging from 14 to 32 gauge, and are available in 4 different lengths. An approximation of the smallest achievable deposit size is roughly twice that of the tip's inner diameter. If our smallest size of GP tips doesn't work for your application, our black chamfer tips have a small ID of 0.1 millimeters or 0.004 inches, which can theoretically dispense as small as 0.2 millimeters or 0.008 inches, according to the rough calculation. However, there are a few factors that can affect deposit size, such as tip diameter, fluid viscosity, properties of the surface being dispensed onto, and dispenser pulse duration. Let's take a deeper dive into all of these factors. Since fluid spreads as it leaves the tip, this means when choosing a tip, you should select one with an ID that is half the diameter of the desired deposit. With particle-filled materials, it is wise to choose a dispensing tip with an ID that is 10 times the size of the particle in the fluid. That way, the fluid shouldn't clog the dispensing tip. With thin fluids and cyanacrylates, these may spread significantly more when dispensing. A good rule of thumb would be selecting a tip with a 2-to-1 ratio of desired deposit diameter to dispense tip ID. Alternatively, with thick pastes and particle-filled materials, narrow cannulas can create too much back pressure, making it impossible to force the material through the tip, even with very high pressures. This requires using a large enough tip ID appropriate for the fluid, like our largest olive general purpose tip with an ID of 1.54 millimeters or 0.06 inches. Alternatively, you may need a taper tip to relieve the back pressure for consistent dispensing of thick or particle-filled pastes. To ensure a proper deposit, the tip must either come into contact with the surface or be closer enough that the fluid will contact and adhere to the surface. The rougher the surface, the higher level of friction. The higher level of friction and thus adhesion. This is particularly important for deposition of thick pastes at high repetition rates. Our pneumatic benchtop dispensers control dispensing with air pulses. Each pulse puts pressure on the fluid column, releasing material from the dispensing tip. The most effective approach is to select a pulse duration that allows adjustment backwards and forwards to optimize the process. When it comes to the dispensing tip, start by selecting one with an ID half of the size of the required diameter. If that doesn't work, experiment with changes with positioning, pulse, duration, pressure, or others. And of course, we always recommend to reaching out to us so our process engineers can recommend the best solution for your application. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.